After years of grinding, every skill maxed, every quest complete, I did what anyone else would do. Start an Iron Man. The Iron Man journey is ongoing, and quite frankly, never ending. But that account has reached horizons this one never did. At that point, is this account really a main? This isn't a fresh start, this is a comeback story. Welcome to Main Character Energy. In this video, we're going to get set up on our Slayer block list with Kuradel. Our initial plan was to pick up a Greater Demons task, but I'm here retroactively speaking to inform you we got very sidetracked with profitable tasks and some Araxxor combat achievements. Previously, we completed While Guthic Sleeps, giving us access to a higher tier of demon main weapons with the likes of the Emberlight, the Scorching Bow, and the Purging Staff. These three weapons will be crucial for us to acquire Radiant Oak Plate. We may have unlocked the ability to use them, but we don't actually have them yet. So the game plan today is we're going to be purchasing one of the Tormented Synapses out of the three, making an Emberlight, and in combination with a Twisted Bow, we are going to be farming some Tormented Demons ourselves in hopes of getting 2 more Tormented Synapses and maybe even a pair of Burning Claws along the way. That's just the Iron Man in me. And also, we don't exactly have a whole bunch of GP right now, and it could be interesting to get some collection logs. But before we can dive into that grind, we need to do some preparations, starting with optimizing our Slayer block list and actually updating Slayer in general. There might be a few unlocks and extends that we need to do, and then we will be hunting Greater Demons tasks so that we can do the grind on task. Obviously, along the way, other Slayer tasks are going to come up, and I'm going to determine if I want to do them based on how profitable they are or if there are any combat achievements I need to do at a particular boss. I will say though, the luxury of being a main account, if we simply want to tap out of the grind at any point, or if we're very unlucky, we can simply go do something else and make the GP and buy the rest of the remaining Tormented Synapses. I've made my way over to Kuradel, and we're going to take a look at what we have unlocked and extended here. I believe we have most things that we want, except the big thing, I guess, is task storage. We have 1,569 points to work with, so I suppose we will rip the band-aid here and unlock task storage for 500 points. It used to be 1,000, so 500 points. We will gladly unlock task storage. And then as far as unlocks go, you know, one day I would like to get all the Slayer helmets, but that's not going to be anytime soon. I don't believe there's any other unlocks we want, so let's go over to the extend page. And looking at this page, there's actually a lot of things that aren't extended that I find interesting, and I think that's just the difference between playing a main account and an Iron Man, and perhaps the mindset I was in at the time while playing this account. For example, I don't have Abyssal Demons extended. I think it's going to stay that way though, actually, and I'm thinking at this point in time I might even block Abyssal Demons. I simply have no reason to do Abyssal Demons or Sire at this point in time. I'm not going for the Imbued Heart, and I currently don't care about anything Sire gives us. The important thing here is that we have Greater Demons extended already, so that's good. We don't have to concern ourselves with that. Scrolling down to the bottom here, Araxxites. I guess I will be extending Araxxites. Maybe one day we will be doing Araxxor on this account. If nothing else but for the combat achievements actually, so that's probably a good call right there. We'll pay the 150 points to extend Araxxites. Now with 919 points remaining, I suppose this is where we need to start setting up the block list with Kuradel here. The block list is where it's going to get kind of funny from the Iron Man perspective anyways, because on the Imbued Heart grind, I would never block Abyssal Demons, but I think I am going to block them here now. So let's go ahead and do that. 100 points to block Abyssal Demons, and I think the general rule we're going to follow here is we're going to block anything that is high weight or high percentage here. So also, once we get our block list set up, we're ultimately going to start tutorial skipping. So our block list doesn't matter too much. It could help us in actually getting the task that we want, but we're going to be skipping anyways, so it's not too big of a deal. Yeah, I'm really struggling to figure out what I want to be blocking here. Yeah, let's just go ahead and commit, you know? I'm like kind of hesitating here, but let's commit. So, okay, we're going to commit to Dagonoffs. And we have one more slot for our block list. We don't have the 7th slot, as it says you must complete the Lumberage and Draenor Elite Diary to use this slot. And looking at our diaries here, the only reason we don't have that completed is actually, you may have guessed it, Mage Training Arena under the hard tier. Cast Bones to Peaches in Alcarid Palace. We don't have Bones to Peaches unlocked on this account. Again, it's very strange because usually burst tasks or barrage tasks are quick, but that's just something I simply don't want to do right now. And I guess if I wanted to do a task, I would rather use a cannon. That is a key difference there as well, being on a main. We have the luxury of using a cannon. You know, we don't have to worry about cannonballs. We can simply just buy them. So our complete block list right now, you know, it is comparable to what a typical Iron Man block list may look like with a few exceptions. So currently we are on a cow fight task, and I did unlock task storage, so I'm going to put the cow fights away for now. Ultimately, I think that's going to be a skip, but let's see what our next task is. 136 worms. So a worms task isn't too profitable, I don't think, so I guess right away we're going to be utilizing Turiel skipping already. So for the longest time, we've always called this NPC here, or the NPC that resides in this building anyways, Turiel, but after the completion of While Guthic Sleeps, we unfortunately lost a few members around Gielinor. So Aya is Turiel's daughter, I believe. So instead of Turiel skipping, it is now Aya skipping. We're going to talk to her, and we're going to lose out on our task streak of 669. But you know what? I am okay with that. We can get that back in a relatively short time frame if we choose to boost 23 wolves. We'll go take care of that task real quick, and then we'll go back to Kuradel to see what the actual task we want to do is. While we're working on the Slayer task here, I got the Goofy Vorcast Slayer helm on. I say goofy, I mean, I do like the color, but honestly, in comparison to the Master Tier Verzik helmet, and obviously the Zuck helm, it does not compare, right? I actually do have the Verzik Slayer helm right now, but I can't equip it, as this account has lost the Master Tier combat achievements quite some time ago. We're now 193 points removed from the Master Tier. I'm sure as we pick up some Slayer tasks here, though, we'll start chipping away at the combat achievement points, and maybe we'll find ourselves becoming Master Combat once again. Back at Kuradel, 169 spiritual creatures. Yeah, okay, we're going straight back to Aya with that one. We aren't doing that. We finally got a real task that we wanted to do, and it's a Black Dragons task. We're making our way over to Brutal Black Dragons. At least for its time at one point in time, this was actually a very, very good task to do for GP. Not so sure what the GP rates are here these days, but I'm sure it's still pretty profitable. Although, no one else is here right now. Nevertheless, I'm going to knock out these 58 Black Dragons on the task, and we'll see how much money we come out with, I suppose. While we're working on this Brutal Black Dragons task, I just want to reiterate, while our goal is to get a Greater Demons task so we can start farming some Tormented Demons, any task where it's decently profitable, we are going to do. So here I am at Brutal Black Dragons, and the wiki says it's about 1.4 to 1.5 mil GP an hour, so I'll be taking that. Also, doing this task is just very, very nostalgic. This was like the Rune Dragons before the Rune Dragons. Okay, I've been doing a lot of angler fishing recently on the Iron Man here because I've been focused on playing the main account again. And I just got a duplicate heron pet, the fishing pet here at Anglers at 22.9 mil EXP. I don't remember when I got the first one, as it was a long time ago. I suppose let's look at the collection. Okay, and the game sounds are currently recording. Well, the game sounds from Brutal Black Dragons, that's what we're doing right now. But yeah, let's take a look at the collection log. Other, scaling pets? Scaling pets. Yep, that is our first duplicate fishing pet. We're actually missing a lot of the other scaling pets, unfortunately. Maybe one day we will get those. Just wrapped up the Black Dragons task there. 58 Brutal Black Dragons. Let's check our loot. So this is everything we got from the task, 1.6 mil worth of loot. And then I suppose if we subtract the supply cost, it's probably somewhere around 1.4 or 1.5 mil. Not too bad, not too bad. Several task skips now, and unfortunately still no Greater Demons task. However, after the Brutal Black Dragons, we are now doing Rune Dragons. So a little bit of good GP here as well. There's been a lot of task skipping behind the scenes. Unfortunately, Kuradel keeps giving me spiritual creatures and skeletal wyverns, which I'm not sure why, because they aren't even weighted that high on my current task list. Regardless, we finally found ourselves with another task that we wanted to do, albeit it's not Greater Demons, unfortunately. We've yet to pull that. But here we are geared up in our best crush setup here, because we're going to be doing some Araxxor. We got a 209 Araxxite task, and there's some combat achievements from there that are pretty free that I'm going to try and knock out. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to do the whole task. We'll just see how it goes. Here we are on the first KC ever on this account. And we got a new PB, by default. A 111. Oh, with that we actually get the Venom, which is guaranteed when you get a certain time. I forget, but that is a collection log, our first collection log at Araxxor. We just got Araxxor speed trialist, okay? Araxxor speed tests are kind of interesting because it's not based on one singular Araxxor KC. Rather, it's over, I believe, maybe 3 or 4 for the speed trialist, and then Grandmaster time's going to be over an even longer or bigger sample size of KCs. So one of the freebie combat achievements, well, besides KC, I believe there's one where we don't allow Araxxor to move. So what we're going to do here is we're actually just going to stand right in place. And obviously in enrage phase, we are going to have to maneuver around. But we can just move around Araxxor. Okay, we're in enrage phase. And so far so good. Araxxor has not actually moved. We should be able to get that combat achievement done, and we do. And along with that, we also get Araxxor Speed Chaser. Now, before we pull the rewards, let's take a look at the combat tasks here, just to really get a grasp on the speeds. Get more details about that. So we first did Araxxor Speed Trialist, which is actually just 4 Araxxors in less than 10 minutes. Speed Chaser is 5 Araxxors in 10 minutes. And Speedrunner is going to be 6 in 10 minutes, which I believe we're pacing to get that. We just simply need to get the next KC. So let's get ready for that. And there we go. Araxxor Speedrunner, the Grandmaster combat task. And along with it, we actually got a genuine new PB of a 107. Just teleported out of our first trip at Araxxor here. We didn't go for all the CAs, obviously. We're just getting reaccustomed to the boss again. We did get all the speed ones done, and Swimming in Venom, which is the one where we kill Araxxor without the boss ever moving. We're going to look into some of the other ones now. There are 2 more absolute freebies, though. It's just a matter of doing the boss, kill Araxxor 25 times, and 75 times, respectively. Alright, we are back for another trip here at Araxxor. I think I'm going to go for Perfect Araxxor and Perfect Araxxor 2. Perfect Araxxor is pretty straightforward. Just don't take any unnecessary damage. After that, we'll go for Perfect Araxxor 2, although I'm unsure if Perfect Araxxor 2 requires Perfect Araxxor 1. I suppose that would make sense, right? But I actually don't know. I think just to be safe, we're going to do one at a time, though. So for this first KC, let's try and do Perfect Araxxor. Okay, so we already failed Perfect Araxxor 2, because 2 is just simply making the boss hit itself during the enrage phase. So you can't actually hit it. Oh, no, that's going to fail it. Oh, it didn't. Oh, that was very fortunate right there. Because if we had done damage and not finished the boss there, that mirrorback, that white crab, would have reflected damage onto us, and that would have failed. But we just got Perfect Araxxor as well as a new PB, although I don't really know if that's new, maybe by a tick or something, because I do believe our previous PB was a 107. With Perfect Araxxor 1 out of the way now, let's go for Perfect Araxxor 2. We mostly have to do the exact same thing, with the caveat that on Enrage phase, we are now no longer going to swing at the boss. Instead, we're going to have to step under. Well, I already failed. And we didn't get the combat achievement. I'm going to have to look this up because I don't know. I don't know. Just pulled up the wiki here, and it does say that essentially we have to redo Perfect Araxxor 1 just with the extra stipulation during the Enrage phase. So I suppose let's heal up and try again. Okay, just pulled the Araxxite loot, and that was unexpected, but we're very early days here at the Araxxor boss, so Araxxite Venom Sacs are a collection log even. I'm unsure if Thralls fails it, so I'm just gonna avoid that. Okay, I think we just failed, so... I kind of forgot what the special was in this cycle, so that was a mistake. Alright, here comes another attempt on Perfect Araxxor 2. Continue to maneuver around. This is where it could get tricky. Let's just maneuver over here so we have more tiles to work with. And that should be it. There we go. Perfect Araxxor 2. And we get a U-Seed. We are now 50% done with the Araxxor CAs. We are currently 6 out of 12. Aside from the KC ones, we still have Relaxor to do, which is kill Araxxor after destroying 6 eggs. I think that one should be relatively easy. And then we have Let It Seep In without ever having venom or poison immunity. Okay, that's not a big deal either. And Araxxite Betrayal, I believe we're just gonna have to purposely keep some of the eggs alive and then have an exploder one, the red ones, deal damage to all 3. I believe the boss counts as well. And then Arachnid Lover, kill Araxxor 10 times without leaving. We might bring a Blood Fury or something like that into a trip, and we should be able to take care of that as well. So the next task we're going to tackle first is the no poison immunity one. Now I'm unsure if the anti-poison that's currently ticking for us is going to fail it or not. So just in case, I'm going to go in and out of the gauntlet here. And I believe that will reset all my stats. There we go. And back to Araxxor we go. So we're going to pot up as usual, minus the poison immunity. We are going to take a fair bit of damage here, so I believe this is probably just going to be a 1 KC trip, assuming we can get the task done, one and done. The boss just has 124 health left to go now, so we should be able to take care of this. Okay. We have Let It Seep In done. Okay, the task specifically states that we have to destroy 6 eggs, so let's go ahead and try and do that now. We have returned to re-attempt Relaxor CA. The wiki suggests that you do the eggs in reverse order. So we're going to start on this north side here, whereas traditionally we start over on the south side. 6, we'll go for this one for good measure. I may have been counting out loud, but I got distracted by that Tanzanite Fang drop, and now I'm a little confused. So let's try to get rid of this. Okay. Now we proceed to fight the boss as normal, I believe. One more swing here should do the trick. That should be a Relaxor. There it is. Now we just have 4 Araxxor CAs to complete. We're going to need to specifically go after Arachnid Lover and Araxxite Betrayal. Have an Araxxite kill 3 other Araxxites. I believe this one should be fairly straightforward. We do just have to keep an eye out on maybe the certain rotations of the eggs. Alright, we just got the Spider Cave teleports as a consolation prize. Another collection log. That is 300 collection logs on this account. And I've never seen or noticed this message before, but it says you have achieved the Iron rank for collection logging. Speak to the collector in Varrock Museum for a reward. I guess this was an update some time ago. I do remember that, like people holding their gilded clog staffs and whatnot. This is it, this is it. Surely this is it. That is unbelievable. I think my step under just pushed that Araxxite out of range of the Explodey boy. Okay, through various attempts of doing Araxxor Betrayal, we actually picked up the 25 KC combat achievement. So, Araxxor Veteran, done. Still working on Araxxor Betrayal, though. Here we go, here we go. That has to be it, that has to be it. It didn't kill... Let's try to get these two into position here. Okay, that is perfect. That is absolutely perfect. This is it. This has to be it. There we go. That could not have been any better. They were perfectly stacked on that one. I actually lost track of how many attempts that took, but for some reason I really had trouble with this one. But the remaining two... Is it two? Let's go ahead and look at the log here. Yes, the remaining 2 combat achievements are going to be free. Araxxor Master 75 times. So we need another 48 KC. And then Arachnid Lover 10 KC without leaving. We'll just slap on a Blood Fury and maybe some Brews, just in case we're just like better food. We're just bringing sharks at the moment. Okay, we have re-geared, changed our inventory slightly, added an Amulet Blood Fury, a Brew, and a Restore just in case it really comes down to it. And we have upgraded our sharks to Anglerfish. Should be able to do the 10 KC trip relatively easily, I think, especially with a Blood Fury. We could just camp that the entire time if we really wanted to, but I'm being cheap and I'll only swap to it when we need it. I made the mistake of not tracking what my KC was when I first entered the room, so I'm not sure how far away we are from the 10 KC milestone here. I think we have a ways to go, though. We barely just got started, in all honesty, and I'm quickly realizing that perhaps prayer is going to be more of an issue more than anything, and maybe I should bring more prayer. Although I do have the extra restore, so that's going to help. And that is Arachnid Lover complete. Like I said earlier, I had no idea how close or how far away I was, because I didn't really keep track. Should have looked at the KC number before I went in. But with the availability of an Amulet of Blood Fury, this task was honestly very trivial. And honestly, I should have brought in more prayer pots, as that was more of a concern than the actual food. This task was a little bit more difficult though, as I actually got 0 supply drops over the course of this trip. If I got any prayer potions or some extra food, it would have made it a lot easier. I did have to start prayer flicking a little bit, although I do have 1 super restore left in the inventory. All that remains is the 75 KC task, and we will have green logged the Araxxor combat achievements. So we'll check back in for when that happens, or maybe we might get surprised with a good drop or two, who knows. We're working on the final KC here. Being a main, being able to use a Blood Fury, very nice. We have a 20-minute trip here, and I actually ran out of food for like the last 5 KC, but just using a Blood Fury extended the trip, didn't have to bank, and there we have it, Araxxor Master. We are now 12 out of 12 on Araxxor combat achievements. And we're actually still on task, 134 Araxxites, but I think I'm going to go ahead and cancel that task and see what else we can get. But in terms of combat achievements here, we are 133 points away from re-obtaining the master tier that we once had. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up there. It was nice to get the Araxxor combat achievements done and out the way, putting us closer to master tier once again. But let's not forget, our main goal here is to do Tormented Demons and get ourselves some Tormented Synapses. So hopefully we pick up a greater Demons task soon, but we'll just have to keep chipping away at Slayer to find out.